Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Grand Tactician, the Civil War, our Union Let's Play series, and it is April 15th, 1861. The war has just gotten underway, and you may notice there's no music in the background. I had some comments from folks asking if I could turn it down. I also had some folks saying it was just downright annoying because it gets a little repetitive. So I did turn the music off for this video. We'll see how that goes, but it'll at least not be annoying or overbearing on my own voice. With that being said, we just got the war started. This is episode 2 of this series, and so I'm going to be doing some initial housekeeping activities in this particular video to get ourselves ready for the coming conflict with the Confederates, and we might have our first battle. So a summary of the few things I'm going to do. First off, the home squadron of our Navy has 10 ships in it, some pretty powerful ships, a lot of sailing ships. I think they might actually all, no, we have a couple of coal-powered ships, but some sailing, a mixture of sailing ships and coal-powered ships. We've got some big ships like the Cumberland, which I believe is a sailing frigate, or sloop, St. Louis, the Sabine, the Brooklyn. Quite a few ships in here, 10 ships total, 112 guns. And what we're going to do is we're moving them to Hampton Roads. And that's because it does look like there's a small Confederate flotilla, the James River Squadron, 2 ships, 12 guns, which is currently blockading Fortress Monroe, and I believe actually bombarding the fort. And so while I don't think there's any risk that they'll overcome the garrison by themselves, I do want to reinforce them with a naval squadron. I was looking at the Atlantic blockading squadron potentially, but this squadron is actually basically completely disabled. They have 7 ships, but they're all pretty much disabled. There's the USS Minnesota, which has 35% readiness, the Roanoke, which has 35% readiness, the Pawnees at 75% readiness, the Lawrence is at 35%, the Congress is at 100%, the USS Congress. She's the only ship ready for sea in all respects, and so I'm ordering that squadron back to New York Harbor, where they'll go ahead and sort of rest and replenish and get those ships ready for sail, while we'll use the home squadron to go and reinforce Hampton Roads. That does mean our effective blockade of the East Coast is going to be delayed for a while, but I want to make sure that we secure our position on Hampton Roads. Meanwhile, I am also working on securing our position at St. Louis. So we have raised an army here, the Department of the West under Major General William S. Harney. And if we take a look, he's got 1 brigade, the Missouri Brigade, under Nathaniel Lyon, who was sort of famous for, I believe it was Wilson Creek, where he was killed. But despite the defeat there, the Union was able to hold on to Missouri. We do see there's a Confederate force here. So this is the current force in St. Louis, 1,700 men. The Confederates have about 2,000 men in the Missouri State Guard, presumably under General Price. So we are bringing the Army of the Mississippi under Major General Edward Baker and his 1,000 men south by boat to St. Louis to reinforce the Department of the West. And then we'll move forward those 2,000 troops to try and push the Missouri State Guard back. I don't have enough troops to, kind of launch a massive offensive yet. The Western Army down here is another 2,000 men potentially down in Arkansas. It looks like all of our garrisons in the Indian territories have fallen to the Confederates. So we'll probably just get those 2,000 men in St. Louis. And then if we can, we'll push back toward Franklin, where sort of a provisional Missouri Congress has been set up for the Confederates. We'll push back, try to take that town and at least secure northern Missouri for the Union. So those are some initial actions that we've already ordered. I haven't really raised any new troops or anything like that. Meanwhile, our river squadron is currently disabled, and they are still working on building those ships. I think we're like 2 months out from these guys being ready for combat, but we are in the process of raising a river squadron with 4 gunboats on the Mississippi River. They are still constructing themselves at the moment. If we move back east a little bit and we move toward Ohio, General McClellan, the young Napoleon, if you will, does have a small force here in Ohio. He's got, looks like, the Indiana Brigade and the West Virginia Brigade. So there appear to be 2 brigades currently, each with about 1,000 men, 1,200 in the Indiana and 900 in the West Virginia Brigade. So he's got about 2,000 men under his command. We're going to send them east to try and take Wheeling, Virginia. Remember, West Virginia has not yet seceded from the Union. From the Confederacy. And so we're going to send them east to take Wheeling. There's a pretty important suspension bridge there. In addition to that, it's really close to Pittsburgh. So in theory, the Confederate control at the moment does actually, with the Steuben Bridge here, does cut the rail line west from Pittsburgh into Ohio, and so everything has to divert north. I don't know how big of a deal that is in game. In real life, that is kind of a big deal. So we're going to move 2,000 troops to Wheeling to try and secure that northern portion of the state of Virginia, and also prevent Pittsburgh from being, at risk of any kind of Confederate raids. We may move them south toward Grafton to see if we can engage the Army of the Northwest before they can advance east and threaten the Cumberland Gap or anything like that. So some pretty dicey geographical situations. The Cumberland Gap is a very important location for the Union. Pittsburgh, obviously very important. And then Bridge or town here in Northern Virginia, also very important for the Confederacy. So we're going to want to make sure to secure that by moving McClellan's troops in there. And hopefully also threatening the Army of the Northwest to pull back west rather than moving east into eastern Pennsylvania or potentially western Maryland. We also know the Confederates have about 5,000 men, I think it is. How many men is this here? The Army of the Shenandoah, 8,000 men in the Shenandoah Valley, and about 4,000 at Alexandria in Virginia. So what we're also going to do here is this may be the most likely place for our first battle. We're going to take the Army of Northeastern Virginia under Irvin McDowell, and we're going to move them south to Alexandria. I don't intend to move toward Richmond yet, but I do want to clear these Confederates away from the Potomac River and away from Washington. So we're going to move them just south, see if we can't push the Army of the Potomac back and potentially invite a battle here. We're not going to move as far south as Manassas Junction. I just really want to take Alexandria. And so those are going to be our initial activities at the moment. We are working on some policies here. So we're currently working on government funding, which is going to take 9 more days. I'm also going to go ahead and research regulars, which is going to give me some small regular units that are going to be sort of added to the Army. It will lower the overall military experience of the Union Army, but I think getting 6 more small units into our forces immediately will be a benefit here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That will take 46 days for the regulars, and then 19 days now for government funding. So actually, I don't actually like that. So let's undo that. Let's do the 12. If it's going to take us like 2 months, let's do the Militia Act 2, which is still only going to take 21 days. Government funding will still pop out back to 19. So let's do the Militia Act 2, because right now, currently, we can only raise troops for 3 months, which is not long enough for any real campaign. That's not even long enough for a single season campaign. So I want to make sure that we are able to raise troops, and I don't like the idea of raising 3-month troops. So that feels like a waste. So I'll get we'll get a rush on the Militia Act to try and get those troops for another 12 months. I could research more, but again, that's going to push the time out on all these other activities. So we'll wait on any further policy research at the moment. And that's the situation right now. Hampton Roads is blockaded. We've already said we're going to move the fleet there to do that. The Missouri State Guard is technically invading the state of Missouri because it's still Union, and the British intervention likelihood is at 30%, so not going to happen right now. So with that being said, let's unpause and see how these things start to unfold now that the war has officially begun. So you can see these troops, their order is to march, and so they are marching. They're not moving by rail or boat or anything like that, and they're going to march across the Potomac and threaten the Army of the Potomac there. Naval bombardments. The James River Squadron is bombarding Fort Monroe, as I said. What does it say here? Garrison 66%. You'd think our fortress there would be good enough to get back. Union Army's on the move. Lincoln unwavering. Union invades the South. Action finally. I guess, sort of. So yeah, this river squadron is threatening Fortress Monroe. The home fleet is on the way. Maybe we'll get to defeat the Confederates' Navy. The Confederates still sitting in camp near the Potomac. Oh, we've got an engagement, boys. We've got an engagement. 4,100 Confederates versus 9,800 Union troops as we advance on Alexandria. So let's fight this battle out and see what it looks like. We'll see how the AI does, outnumbered 2-1. The Union fields about 9,800 men under the command of Major General McDowell. The Confederacy fields about 4,200 men under Major General Koch. Okay. Deploy forces. Gotcha. We'll get rid of the scouts here. Our scouts report the enemy is near Alexandria, Virginia. Our army is prepared for battle. We are facing the Army of the Potomac under the command of Philip St. George Cock with a strength of about 4,000 men and 6 guns. We don't have any artillery. That's a problem. We should probably raise some. The army's green. The enemy army's green, and morale is reported to be determined. Meanwhile, our own army's supply situation is outstanding as well. Okay. So if we take a look at our army here, we've got 472 our cavalry. We do have some artillery. I didn't think we did. We'll just see New Jersey militia. Oh, we do have some batteries. Okay. So we do have a little bit of artillery. Okay, so we need to deploy our army. So let's do that. All right. So we can deploy these guys up here in the northern corner of the map. That's it. That's a little silly. Or can we deploy them further? We can deploy them further. Okay. This is basically, it looks like it's the Bull Run battlefield. So the game sort of auto-populates different battlefields, historical battlefields that you can fight on. It'd be nice if it did some more random battlefields, because obviously we're fighting at Alexandria. I don't really want to fight on the Bull Run battlefield when we're not fighting on Bull Run, but that's what the game does. So, all right, so we've deployed. Oh, I can deploy as far. Okay, so anywhere in this dark blue arc that I didn't notice. Also, I really hate when it rotates like this. I thought I turned rotation off. Can we do that again? Oh, I locked that rotation. There's so we can lock the campaign map rotation, but we can't lock the battlefield map rotation. That's bizarre. Guess we'll just have to deal with it. All right, so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy the army up here near Poplar Ford. And then we're just going to cross there because that ford's right there. And that'll get us past the water and potentially risk of a contested crossing, I would guess. So go ahead and hit play to end the deployment phase. Right now it's considered a minor victory. Oh, no, it is a minor victory. Okay. We'll send Tyler's division down toward Matthews Hill. Then we'll send Hunter's division to be on his right. And we'll send Runyon's division as a reserve, or I guess actually that's not Runyon, is it? Oh, it is. His militia will be our reserve. So we've got to send couriers to issue those orders and things like that. I'm assuming the cavalry, the cavalry's attached to that division. So these troops are going to get underway. Now you've got this like battlefield map, which I think is really cool, this Atlas view. But if you haven't played this game before, you can use your mouse cursor, scroll in, and then you can move down to, a 3D map of a battlefield here, with units moving around, with troops that you can see here. Dust clouds. It looks like dust clouds might even be kicking up, or I guess these guys are in gray. It's Bull Run all over again. Mixed uniforms. Confusion reigns. But you can see our artillery here, the different units marching on the map. Be nice if they improve the visuals of some of the troops moving on the map, but I love the aesthetics of this map right here when you're like zoomed way out, like it's almost like a Civil War atlas. But anyway, so we can speed things up, and so we're going to do that. So let's get a ×5 speed, let the troops move around. You can see there's different objective points which are put on the map, but I don't know if that means the Confederates are really there or if those are just sort of points to kind of give the AI some instruction, if you will. So far, we've detected no Confederates at the moment. And also, like, the further your troops get from General McDowell or from their different commanders, the harder they are to command or get orders to them and things like that. The game includes things like order delays. I think it may even, like, if there's an enemy between you and your units, you might not even be able to issue orders. At least that was my experience when I was playing this about a year ago. So, all cool limitations, I think, from a gameplay perspective. We have no idea where the rebels are in the map. We just know there's a bunch of different... wait, we spotted them. Looks like there's 3 brigades here. Oh, is that a stone wall they're behind? Are they marching or? Yeah, or it's a wall of some kind. Looks like it's a wooden wall. So they're behind like a fence. So to that point, oh, Baker, don't go and get yourself killed all by yourself. No. Give me the first division. Yes. All right. You're not going to march up that way. You're going to march here. And I think what we'll do is we'll see that's a very intelligent position, I think, for the Confederates to take. 2 brigades, and then it looks like a battery of artillery here. Maybe 3 brigades. Looks like 2 brigades. They've opened fire, by the way, now with their artillery. So we're going to deploy the 1st Division here. Runyon's militia brigade's already in place. We'll deploy the 2nd Division here. And so my goal is going to be to flank these guys. But that's going to be hard to do. The river kind of limits my ability to do this. I wouldn't mind getting my artillery battery into action sooner rather than later. So you can see we're starting to deploy. The enemy is firing on us. Let's deploy these cannons here. We have a couple of batteries of artillery. These guys are all going to be lower than the enemy's got the high ground. So rather than issuing orders at a divisional level, I'm issuing them at the individual unit level. We're moving, again, at ×5 speed at the moment. Attack the enemy. The enemy has captured superior ground and is defending. You must assume the aggressive. You must assume the offensive and drive him. So there's actually another infantry brigade to the right, Hampton's Legion. So we've got a battery of artillery and 3 brigades of rebel infantry at the moment. We are taking artillery fire while I try and get my troops into position. I'm going to have the 1st Division assault frontally to fix them, while I try and bring the 2nd Division and its 2nd Brigade in on the flank. All right, so we are attacking now. Let's go ahead and slow things down. Let's pause, actually. So cohesion is failing. These guys are firing. So we've got 24-pounder howitzers currently firing. Where are they firing on, does it say? And then we've got this battery of 24-pounder as well. They're idle. Huh. So can we tell these guys who to fire on? Bombardment? Concentrate artillery fire and a massive bombardment using rapid fire. We don't have preparation, so we can't do that. So I don't know if I can tell them individually who to fire on. I guess if I right click on there. All right, so these guys are firing. All right, so I think my divisions are in place. So let's go ahead and assault. 1st Division, move forward. Actually, wait. Don't do that. I'm going to issue the orders brigade by brigade because I don't want the artillery to limber up, and I'm not sure how to do that otherwise. So we're going to move this militia brigade forward. We're going to move forward on a 3-brigade front. We outnumber them 2-1, but they are in pretty good defensive terrain. 4th Brigade will move up in reserve. And we'll try and flank. See if we can get these troops into position. We'll move our U.S. cavalry under Innes Palmer out here to the rear. Well, I don't want them on line formation. I'd rather they be in a column that looks like a column formation. There, that's better. Okay. So I think we've issued the orders. The cavalry's moving, infantry's moving, artillery's stationary. Okay. So we're in the process of moving forward. Is this all 4,000 of his troops? Let's unpause. So you can see he's got 1 battery, 6 guns firing at us. I've ordered all my artillery to fire. Where did Hampton's Legion go? Do we lose sight of them? Maybe they laid down? Does say they're firing. Not sure on who. So our units are moving now. You can see here. Our cavalry is swinging out to the east. I'm curious how long the rebels are going to hold themselves behind this position. Because one of the problems that the AI had before in the game when I used to play them is they really didn't respond to flanking maneuvers. Looks like they're moving skirmishers out. So they're moving skirmishers out to intercept our attack. They are turning themselves a little bit to receive our flanking attack. These guys are apparently, Ewell's brigade might be moving out. What's this mean? Unit outflanked. Yeah, so they know they're outflanked. So I've kind of triggered the AI into, I guess, adjusting to receive the flanking attack. Some of our troops are engaged with the enemy skirmishers. I'd rather push them off if I can, and they are pulling back. But it does look like we've managed to outflank this whole position. The sound in this game is pretty well done. I don't know if you can really hear it with... Oh, shit. I don't think you hear any sound. One sec. My bad. Now you should hear sound. Amateur mistake, I guess. I haven't been doing YouTube for a long time. Don't worry. All right, so we've outflanked them. Looks like their troops are moving forward to advance. So 1 brigade, maybe Ewell's coming back here to cover their flank now. So artillery still firing? It is. I like that it keeps the individual ammunition numbers for the different units. And ammunition, per my understanding, does have to be replenished with supply and things like that, and that does influence things like the cost. My brigade's made contact with the enemy, so we've intercepted a... Well, I guess this is one of our commanders. Well, now that they're reforming themselves, they are exposing their flank to these other brigades on the front. So the frontal assault ended up becoming the flanking assault now, it looks like. Waiting for some of these guys to start moving. So we successfully pushed back Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, his brigade. It looks like he suffered about 300 casualties. He's pulling back, and he's completely outflanked by this line. So, you know, honestly, if I was the AI, I don't know what I would do other than perhaps fall back to this fence line to start when they saw us overlapping their position. But they were pretty well hosed either way. We've lost a fair amount of men, though, so this is going to be a nice little victory for us. Ewell's brigade is still in good shape. He's marching to the east. He doesn't really have a road to get out of there. My cavalry's sitting on the road. I am trying to keep the pressure up. That enemy artillery battery probably will also be completely shattered. Can I charge this? Oh, we just broke that enemy artillery battery. They have no more guns. And it looks like Ewell's detachment, so his skirmishers, have engaged us. Let's move our cavalry up here. Maybe we'll do a good old cavalry charge. The enemy's retreating. Our commanders report the enemy seems to be retreating from the field. Try to pursue them at the given time. Yeah, it would make sense for them to pull back at this stage. Keep pushing, boys. How do I move him without... No, I don't want to do that. There's a way to move your commander without moving the entire unit. Does it detach? No. I'll have to take a look into that, because I know there's a way to move your commander without issuing orders to the entire unit. I do like that command where the game lets you issue orders to the entire unit, but not always super useful, or not always desirable, I guess. I don't have a charge option. All right, we've overrun their flank. We're pushing them back. Ewell's brigade was not heavily engaged, so he's going to be in good shape withdrawing. He will have some skirmishers. Oh no, he's going to engage as maybe as a rear guard. So they had the right idea by forming up on a fence line. They had really no hope there. Okay, so our army's victorious. The battle is over. Total casualties. Looks like the Confederates lost 600 out of their 4,300, so not too bad. They did lose about all 5 guns, so they have none of that left. So they lost about 700 total of their 4,400 men. We lost 1 cavalry and 181 infantry, so a very successful victory for us there. A minor federal victory, presumably just based on the size of the battle, or the enemy engaged. I don't know if you can capture guns. I'm not totally clear on that. If we go back to the battlefield, we can see this is what it looks like at the end. So there's sort of a time limit of pursuit, and we hit that. But yeah, so that's a victory. It's a minor victory just from the strategic sense. Our own losses are 182 men. The enemy's believed to have lost about 700 men. Their morale drops by about 0.5%, while our military experience rises by 0.7%. So we didn't even use that much ammunition. That's the other thing I would say, is it would be cool if battles lasted a little longer and you expended more ammo. Colonel Jones loses face. Oh, that's the Confederate colonel, I'm guessing. But you can see here, narrow victory at Alexandria, Army of the Potomac fleeing in panic. Support for the rebel cause wavers. There's your headlines. And then actually, if we go back to the result of the Battle of Alexandria, the Battle of Alexandria has ended with the Army of the Potomac retreating in panic. My command has earned us a total victory, with the enemy army running for their lives. The enemy has reportedly suffered 714 men, thereof 84 killed, 0 captured. The morale is believed to be stable. Our casualties are 182 men, 853 killed, 28 missing. The rest are wounded. Morale is confident, with the supply situation being mediocre. We have captured 266 rifles and 2 guns from the battlefield. I don't know what we do with that. I don't know how you manage that. I'm guessing that shows up in the goods report. But I'm not really sure. We probably need to build a depot. But my goal is to get to Alexandria, and then we'll build a depot there. So we'll keep marching in that direction. I don't know if the Army of the Potomac will pull back. You can see there are 453 casualties for the Army of the Potomac. Their strength is down to 3,718. And then if we go to the strategy map, you can see we have 1 battle, 1-0 for the Confederates. The Confederates have lost 675 casualties so far in the war versus 182 Union. And, yeah. Okay. So hey, it's a victory. We'll go ahead and move back to ×5 speed. Army of Northeastern Virginia is advancing south. It looks like the Army of the Potomac is withdrawing. You can see one casualty pursuing. Unit routed, a rear guard action, suffering 61 casualties. So there's rear guard actions which occur after the enemy is defeated and you pursue them. The game apparently simulates rear guard actions and other small actions which can occur after the fact. So you can actually see the enemy casualties are now up to 771 and their strength is down to 3,300. Meanwhile, we've suffered a couple more casualties, but not many. And now that they're out of this circle here, they're safe. All right, so I'm assuming, are we still pursuing? 107 more casualties? Jeez. So defeat can be bad for you even outside the battlefield. We're in the process of capturing Alexandria. And there you have it. Our first victory in Grand Tactician, the Civil War. We're waiting to capture Alexandria. I don't know how long that takes. Up to 31%. So it looks like they've fallen back to about Manassas Junction, which would make sense. I'm not sure where the rebel army of the Shenandoah has gone. We lack any intelligence on them. And then you can see McClellan's on the way to Wheeling. Did we get our troops into St. Louis yet? No, they're headed down the river right now. Okay. McDowell has arrived at his destination, and the enemy army is withdrawing. Okay, so we're headed down the river. We're moving into Western Virginia. And we have successfully advanced into the state of Virginia, moving toward Alexandria and in the process of capturing it. We may need to look at building a supply depot. I know you need to do that periodically. We do have a depot not that far away, back in Maryland, northeast of Washington. But we may want to look at building one on the southern side of the Potomac River. One thing I don't quite understand is, like, it feels like the casualty counts for the armies are permanent. I guess I like that for an individual battle, but I wish it would go back to 0 at some point, because otherwise it's confusing. Like, 10 years into the war, is it going to say 20,000 casualties? What do I care what they lost, you know, previously? Where are they going now? Are they trying to fight me? Looks like they're moving slightly. That'd be an aggressive enemy to just come right back at me after getting crushed. Maybe I shouldn't have had them be... No, they're withdrawing again and suffering casualties. Why did they do that? So they lost 43 more casualties skirmishing with me there. That seems like a peculiar thing for the AI to have done. All right, I probably should raise more troops and things like that, right? I'm just waiting to actually take possession of Alexandria. It's currently at 93%. Are they going to move forward toward me again? I gotta say that's really dumb if they're going to do that. They are. They're going to race forward. Then they're going to go ahead and withdraw. The AI can't be that dumb, right? Like, it's got to know to... It's just going to skirmish its limited strength away. All right, Department of Ohio is into Virginia now as well. So we're currently capturing Wheeling. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay if the enemy wants to keep doing that to me. All right, let's go ahead and pause here. It looks like the fleet is in position. Okay, so the home squadron is at Hampton Roads. So why would Hampton Roads be blockaded if my home squadron's here? What's blockading it? Oh shit, there's a North Carolina squadron out this way? Okay. Well, can you go engage them? Must be some like privateers or something that are slipping out behind us. And did we get to St. Louis yet? You guys sure are taking your time moving down the river. Or are you marching? Looks like they're marching. I thought I told them to move by boat. Whatever. Rebels don't seem to be moving on St. Louis at the moment. Looks like they're actually taking some attrition based on that skull and crossbones, I would guess. All right, McClellan's at his destination. Naval bombardment at... Oh, we're bombarding Norfolk with our home squadron? Didn't really want to do that. I'm guessing Norfolk has a pretty decent port. But hey. Let's bring the Flying Flotilla Squadron. This squadron's guarding DC, but we'll move them south also. We can probably... These guys can probably take whatever the Rebs got, right? Well, maybe not, actually. They'll be outnumbered. But if the Rebs are going to move into the Chesapeake, they're going to cut themselves off, so... Go for it, boys. Not really trying to bombard the fort in Norfolk, but... Any chance the North Carolina squadron's trying to go for DC? Alright, so these Rebs seem to be maybe holding their position. I guess I haven't really gone very fast. We're still bombarding the Norfolk garrison. So there's going to be a naval battle up here between the Flying Flotilla. Oh shit. The Flying Flotilla is in retreat. 2 ships lost. The Battle of the Chesapeake has ended with the Flying Flotilla retreating. The engagement was desperate, with us being thoroughly outgunned and outmaneuvered by a superior enemy. The condition of the enemy fleet is believed to be intact. My fleet has suffered 2 sunk, including the USS Resolute, and the condition of my fleet is barely afloat. Well, if you... Okay, so we lost 2 ships sunk. What do you have left? How did you lose 2 ships and still have 2 ships? That doesn't make sense. Although it says no ships are in the flotilla, so maybe they did lose both. Are these guys going for DC? Because that's gonna piss me off. How about you guys go get these guys? Go engage them. Yeah, they're going for DC. They're going up the damn river. Okay, let's go engage these suckers with our whole home squadron. Glorious victory at the Chesapeake Bay. North Carolina squadron in retreat. All enemy ships have escaped. Damn it. Well, go get them. Pursue, you damn you. Okay. Preparations for blockade. Navy proposed arming. Okay. So we did just unlock the next policy options. So we defeated the enemy, but we didn't destroy him. Manassas, the Confederate troops here looks like they've stopped advancing and retreating, so they finally wised up. And Alexandria has fallen to us. So Alexandria is now in our control. And that's good news for us. So we've taken the city of Alexandria, our first Confederate city taken. McClellan is in the process of taking Wheeling. It's taking a little bit of time. And I think we'll build a depot at Alexandria now to support our advance south. Also, the divisions of our troops here were not at full strength at the start of the last battle, so they've added about 700 new troops to these units as they've drawn supply. But let's go ahead and build a depot. Where can I build a depot? We build it there. We build it. We'll build a depot here, just south of Alexandria, to support our eventual advance further south. You do need depots and things like that to keep your troops in supply. Meanwhile, our troops moving towards St. Louis, where are they at? They're getting close. Missouri State Guard, it looks like, I'm assuming that Skull and Crossbones thing means they're losing supply or they're in hostile territory. Maybe they're foraging. I don't know. But it does look like they've got a Skull and Crossbones next to them, so maybe they don't have a depot. I'm not sure. They are constructing a depot there. It'll be ready in 9 days. Meanwhile, my troops are on the march. I really need to start building new units and new brigades and things like that. McDowell's troops are not going to be around for very long. If we take a look at these guys, most of the troops, I don't even know where they are. Most of these troops have just 1 month left on their contract at this point. So we really should have been raising troops to replace them because they're going to go home soon. So we're going to need to raise some new troops in his army. I will do that. I think I'll do that off camera or off screen. And we'll come back and we'll look at what we're going to build. I guess one thing we could do is for each division, let's just add a brigade. Well, especially for Runyon's brigade division, because he only has one brigade. So we'll go ahead and add a new unit here right away. We will make them Eastern troops because they'll be like right there. We don't actually have that many volunteers to choose from at the moment. Illinois has 6,000 troops. Indiana, 4,200. Ohio, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has what? Oh, that was 4,000. So we can raise a brigade of Pennsylvania troops. A brigade is 3,000. They've got to be 3-month troops, though. It's such a waste. Let's just raise 1,500 then. I don't know why are these guys gray? I think I'll just raise. We have 2,000 Virginia troops. Huh. I think I'll just raise a brigade in each of these armies. Because I don't really want to spend a ton of money, or each of these divisions. Because I don't want to spend a ton of money raising, troops that are just going to go home by the summer. Does the artillery have a contract length? They do. Also, these guys, I gave these guys mixed muskets. Let's give them Springfields. Okay. So we'll raise that. That's about 4,500 troops. So the army would shrink if that's all we raise, but it would still be sufficient, I think, to hold the position, given what the Confederate army's at currently. Who is commanding those troops? I didn't even look. John Wool, Michael Cochran, and Harvey Brown. Well, generic enough. Okay, we probably should also raise some troops here in the Department of Pennsylvania, which is now up to 3,000 troops, so we may want to consider a simultaneous drive down the valley. That would be a much larger battle. The Confederates might actually outnumber us there based on the last intelligence we had. Our flying flotilla, did anything survive in that? It says 2 ships with 0 guns. Flying flotilla. Yeah, like there's no ships in this flotilla. Can we disband the fleet? I don't even know how you would do that. Huh. There's no ships. Whatever, we can assign new ships to his fleet. I'm kind of tempted to just see if there's a way to disband it. But I'm not sure what button I would press to do that. So we'll look at that another time. With that being said, guys, you saw us win a quick little battle to take Alexandria. We took Alexandria. We're in the process of taking Wheeling, and we have troops just about to arrive in St. Louis. Meanwhile, we lost and won a battle in the Chesapeake, and we have raised, I think, the blockade of Hampton Roads, and the situation at Fort Monroe is improving because of that. So that's the situation that we are in at the moment. We'll see how the war unfolds going forward. I think the next thing to do, now that we've completed... What did we complete? It wasn't the government. It was... Was it Militia Act? We're working on Militia Act 2. Maybe we didn't complete that then. It looks like we're still 40 or 37 days out from Militia Act 2. And 10 days out from government funding. So once we get government funding, then we'll look at raising a bunch more troops and really pursuing this this war. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. I know I'm still kind of learning my way through the game as we play it, but I still think it's a pretty interesting and entertaining game. My real concern comes down to whether the AI is strong enough to put up a real fight. Like the way the enemy decided to just send two gunboats up toward Washington. I guess to be fair, they did destroy one of our squadrons, so maybe that wasn't that dumb. I'm a little concerned with the way the Army of the Potomac kept trying to kind of like move back to Alexandria. I wonder if that's because we hadn't taken the city, like it was being captured. So maybe the AI was triggered to counterattack to try and save the city. But when you just lost a battle against that same army, that's a little bit warranted. You know, you would think maybe you would wait for reinforcements. Maybe you wouldn't just jump back and try and engage. To the AI's credit, though, it didn't actually fight a major battle. It realized once it got there, it was like, oh, this enemy army is too big, I'm going to withdraw. But it did cause them to lose like an extra 200 casualties, 300 casualties in sort of skirmishing, if you will, between battles. So we'll see. It's still early on. One thing that would be really amazing for a game like this, like Hearts of Iron has it, so I don't see why you couldn't do that, is multiplayer. Like if you could do this against a human, you guys would probably have to like make sure that you're okay with going at a certain speed or whatever, because there is a lot to manage at times where pausing is useful or setting different speeds may be desirable. But if you could do this versus another human, that would be awesome. I don't think there's ever going to be multiplayer for this game, but that would be really cool if you could do that. That being said, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out.